What's up? My name is Cassandra and this is my first ever YouTube video. I know I'm strange. Do not question it. Just kind of nod your head and go along with it. The reason I'm being so weird is because I'm slightly nervous despite the fact I am actually talking to myself. And also for some reason cannot resist looking at myself in the screen. But it just seems to be slightly more engaging than that small sort of round thing. Yes, great use of the English language. Or my own version, the English. I speak as the English very well. I'm a fluent English speaker. Okay, so why am I talking like this? Okay, so basically what I want to talk about today is my coming out story. And I just think that it's really, really important to talk about, coming out and all that kind of stuff. Because I think for a long, long time, we have been invisible. And I think the main issue is still, even now, is visibility. And particularly in the LGBT community, I think that the face of this community is the G. It's the gay man. And whilst I have nothing against that, we're all equal components of the LGBT. No one should take precedence over the other. And that's kind of why I want to get my story out there. I don't feel like I'm particularly important. If I get one view on this, I will be bloody ecstatic. And can I just say I love you for looking at this, if you manage to look at the entire thing. But basically, I just feel like it's really important. And hopefully, somebody will look at it and, get some kind of sort of comfort from it. I really hope you do, because the fact is, the hardest part is coming to terms with yourself. And once you come to terms with yourself, all those shitty things that people say, and just stupid, horrible, things that make you feel shit about yourself, even in general, even just in life, not just about being gay. Once you accept yourself, you're basically impenetrable, and that is possible. Your aim should never, you can't change how people think. You can only change how you think about yourself. That's what you have power over. And that's what I learned, I think, mainly through my coming out. Well, where to begin? Well, I've always known that there was something different about me. Like, I've never really doubted the fact that I've liked girls. And although as a young child, I was hoping that it wasn't this, because I did know about homosexuality and all that kind of stuff, because my uncles are gay, like, in that their uncles they're in the civil partnership. And well, initially my uncle had always had boyfriends, and it was fine. Like, it was not anything, we never really questioned it. But for me, I was bullied very badly in school. I was made to feel like a freak even before I came out. Even before anyone knew I was gay, I was made to feel ugly, insignificant, and just like nothing. And that I was a waste of space, and I felt literally, I'm not sure if you know this feeling, but almost being physically uncomfortable in your own skin. And, it was very difficult for me to think, oh, this is another fucking thing, excuse my language, on top of that, and it was incredibly painful growing up, because this thing was always at the back of my mind. Like, I I really valued my friendship with girls growing up. Like, it was so much more than friendship to me, though. Like, there wasn't obviously anything sexual about it, because I was only a child, but it was just really, they were really intense. And the worst thing is that it was not reciprocated in any way. That I was just another person to hang out with, and that's it. And that was definitely very difficult, and I think maybe a lot of you can identify with that, like developing friendships that feel a lot more than friendships to you, but not to the other person. And so, as that progressed, like, I basically felt rejected by girls, so I started hanging with boys. And boys are, well, at least where I went to school, were complete arseholes. And they didn't make me feel very good about myself, but still, it was better kind of being rejected by them, not in terms of I'm never trying to get with them or anything like that. I've never actually been with a man, nor do I ever plan on being with a man. They really, like, lads are just lads. They'll slag off anybody just for the crack. Like, it's just all a part of what they do. But it didn't make me. I was very sensitive as a child, but it was easier being treated like that with the boys than being rejected by the girls for me. And then, kind of as I went into secondary school, then I really had to face the facts that I was so very, very, very gay. And that was really, really difficult for me, because I wanted so badly to be normal. Like, I think if anyone can identify with this, like I actually knew this at 11 because I remember actually confiding my mum, and like I had a very, and still have a very, actually, what I'm saying, open relationship with my mum, and you know, she used to. I remember I think my first sex talks was when I was 10, and she was really good. Like I don't remember the specifics. Like it was still awkward because I think any conversation with sex with your parents is awkward, but it was like it was grand. But then I later confided in her that I had thoughts about girls. Yeah, and I was quite young because I think I developed quite young anyway. But and I was so ashamed of this. Like I physically felt dirty. Like, and then my aim in life, my career path was going to be. I wanted to be a nun at that point. So yeah, don't ask. And like I just thought, oh God, so they're right. I am weird. There is something wrong with me. This is what it's been all along. And you know, on top of everything else, my God, it was just so difficult. And I just remember feeling so dirty and disgusting. And despite the fact that I know my parents wouldn't have a problem with it, but it was just me. Like there was something inadequate about me. And for me, that was the hardest part. And also, there's a pain in thinking that you can never really be yourself. I know that people go through their entire lives not coming out, and I find that so heartbreaking. But I felt like I was going to be one of those people that I'd have to live the lie. I mean, the thoughts of ever being with a man, you know, no matter how old I was, like even up to the age of 17, which is when I came out, just really made me feel physically ill. Like it's not anything I ever wanted to do. And the thought that I would have to do that at some stage in order to have a family and all that kind of stuff, really, it's a really isolating feeling because you do, like, at least I did growing up, I felt like I was the only one. You know, like, you know, because when I was growing up, you didn't have YouTube, you didn't have the YouTube. Well, at least it wasn't really readily available to me, especially as I got into my later teen years. It was something that I'd rather not kind of acknowledge. But of course, eventually I was forced to acknowledge it because I was so very, very ashamed of how I felt because I felt guilty. That's the main thing. I felt guilt, and I was a very religious child, so I thought, and teenager, early teenager, like kind of later that kind of fizzled away, and yeah. But it was just really, really difficult. And then I went to Gaeltacht when I was 17, which is like, for those of you who may not be from Ireland, it's basically like an all Irish speaking kind of holiday sort of camp, where you stay with like families. And so I stayed with this particular family, and they just so happened to be a bisexual girl. And by bisexual, we actually mean gay. Um, it was really, really confusing for me because I was just like instantly, the second she said that, I was like, And now she, like, this sounds harsh, but she wouldn't be someone that I would normally be attracted to, like, but just the fact that she was bisexual was enough at the time. That was quite, like, intriguing in itself, so I wanted to get to know her. I remember the first night, like, we went into bed together, but it wasn't like that, it was top and tail, and we started talking the whole night, and then I had to run back into my own bed before the ban on tea came in, and, but I felt so disgusting the next day because I knew very well what I was doing. And later she confided in me that she had a girlfriend. And then, you know, it was one of those other nights that we were in bed together. Not in that way. I was 17. I didn't do anything like that. And she had a girlfriend. So I couldn't, like, she said that she wanted to kiss me. And I just couldn't. I told her I couldn't. And I never admitted to her that I liked her. But it was obvious. She knew. Like, she told me she liked me. But I was like, oh. And I don't know how many different tones. But I was really pleased. She was a bit of a player though, and she moved on very quickly from me once I didn't reciprocate. I didn't say no, I didn't say, oh, you're disgusting. Like, I kept talking to her and I kept kind of, I was overly interested. And that was very difficult for me at the time. And I felt disgusting. I felt like, because there were a few boys that liked me. Like, I'm not saying that I'm fantastic or anything like that, or I was anything like that, but there were a few boys who did fancy me, like, who wanted to get the shift from me. And I was not interested in the least, and I was totally infatuated with her. But after a while, I kind of just, I had to accept the fact. So I confided my sister, and she was like, I told her I thought I might be bisexual. You know, that kind of like thing where you're just kind of pushing it out. You're not actually saying anything. And she's like, not really surprised. kind of already knew. No, it's just there's always been signs with me. Sorry, like that I might be gay, and because I actually remember just random flashback. As a child, I used to try to force kind of pictures of like half naked men up onto my walls, and just I really tried to be excited by them, to put it mildly, and it didn't work. And I got this one poster, and it was like in a CD of, I don't know which girl band it was, but it was quite sexy, and they were kind of showing off a bit of flesh, and my mum noticed, and she was kind of like laughing, like, Cassie, you're a girl, like, what are you doing? But she kind of, like, I'd already told her that I'd had feelings oh my god, I had had feelings for, sorry, no, I just have pins and needles, no, sorry, going off topic, I apologise. I told her that I had to have feelings for girls, and she just said that it was just because I only understood girls' bodies, and it was all a part of growing up, and obviously it wasn't, but I accepted that at the time, and that's actually how I got through to 17 without going completely insane, to think that maybe it was just me becoming a teenager. And I think she said the right thing for me at the time, like, she knew very well, so when I told her, it wasn't a surprise either, like, she just said, oh well, they're a bit scared for me, that was the main thing. They're slightly disappointed that I wouldn't have a family, but I expressed to them that yes, of course I'm going to have a family. Just because I'm not going to get married to a man doesn't mean I'm not going to get married at all and have my own family. But yeah, and yeah, so I told them, and I told my uncle, and I was still having a bit of problems with it myself, like there was still that kind of sense of guilt. But I talked to my uncle, and for some reason, do not ask me why, my mum felt the need to talk to the nun at school. Why? I do not know. And so she said, well, this school isn't equipped to deal with these kind of issues. So she referred me to a guy in Wexford, and he was really, really good. Like, he helped me. Like, I mean, he wasn't the best, because he did this thing with his eyes where he's like, it's like he was rolling them, like he was so bored with you. I don't know why he was like this. I was like, nice. But no, it did actually help me, like, because he was good enough. Like, I mean, I think it was easy to work through after a while. Like, I kind of just said I'm gay and I really don't care, and then it got to the stage where I was really excited about it, and I was really like, looking forward to getting out there. And at the time, there was a social networking site called Bebo. Oh, the shame! Oh, the god, the shame, the shame! And I was gay on it, and a girl was looking up the name of her friend Cassie, and I came up. And she was just like, you're really pretty. And I was like, oh, that's really nice of you to say, so are you? And then we got talking, and then we were talking for months and months and months, and then we eventually met up. She actually lives across the water over there in England. And we met up, and we were together for 2 years. And I also brought her to my Debs, which is like prom, which was fantastic. Despite the fact lads are just being pervy, but like, all I want to say is basically like, that although it may be bad now, it does get better. Like, oh my god, but it really does. It gets a lot better. Life really improves. I mean, right now, it's not even an issue for me. Like, I've almost disconnected from all the pain that I'd experienced in the past. Like, it's not anything to me, but I can totally empathise with what you're going through, especially if you don't have your family support, you know. But what you have to realise is that we're such a huge community, and no matter what, there'll always be someone to go to. Like, honestly, just don't worry about it, and just accept yourself. You're fine the way you are, and there is absolutely no need to change. Just, you're great, and just realise that there's nothing wrong with you. And of course, there are obviously people who are accepted, and you know yourself, like, that you just don't even question it anymore. And we still have a way to go, but if we all do it together, it'll be a lot easier. And I hope this video was somewhat entertaining and informative. But anyway,